No.
Is he's excused, isn't he?
Yeah.
No, that's John Schlegel.
Well, yeah,
I don't know about Yoder.
Tardy, that we can hold it over their head.
absent. Okay. Ron Kestner,
Yes.
he's here. Linda
Ambrose.
Ambrose, he's here. I'll get it right one of these days. John Slagle, he's 32.
He's 32.
Okay.
6'8".
And I'm here.
Well, look at us go.
And John Clemmer isn't here.
What was your first name?
Diane
The Schwann's lady is here.
Diane.
Oh, we got ice cream.
Diane
Schwan.
Swan, S-W-A-N.
Swan or Schwann?
SCH.
W-A-N-N?
WAHN.
S-C.
Not quite the ice cream.
Say we get a discount.
And she's here.
Yeah.
And Lena's not here. But
You will be.
Runyon, where's my buddy Runyon at? He's not here either.
I think he's sitting in there in Elena's office.
Okay, done.
Okay. You guys have the agenda in front of you. Are there any additions or corrections?
No, I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Kestner. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
By Mrs. Ambrose. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Get the minutes. Everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
Yeah.
Where's my copy of the minutes there, young fella?
I gave them to you. What you done with them? You got smart with me, so I took them
No,
back.
I didn't touch anything, because you were yapping. And Mrs. Schwann was a key witness in that.
Did you get a letter? Your van?
And you did get it lettered?
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right, what's your poison on
Make a
the
motion.
motion by Mr. Kestner?
I'll second it.
Second by Mrs. Ambrose. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, monthly report. Oh, it's in here too, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah. Do you guys wanna
Yeah.
copy?
There's
your copy.
this month, obviously.
And give this to the boss while you're over there. And Diane, I'll
Thank you.
give you one when I'm done with it, Diane.
Oh, that's okay.
I just gotta go. Okay.
103 people. 109. Ooh, that's up a little, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from
What's
last
that
month.
from?
Well, it's 3 people.
3 people, then you got 4 that are, so this is 6. Diane. I got it from there.
This is all for June.
Yeah.
Staying away from Indy though, aren't we?
Kinda, sorta.
It's a good thing.
Diane's
Been
in
very, very fortunate.
Peoria. Where do we go, Peoria? What's that hospital, St. Francis? They go to?
The what?
Do they go to St. Francis in Peoria?
No,
No, this is-
Is
that's
it Veterans
Albright.
Hospital? Albright?
Medical Center. VA.
All right, what do you want to do with the monthly report?
Well, it looks all right to me, and he's vouched for it, so I would make a motion to accept it.
All right, motion by Mr. Kestner,
I'll
seconded by Mrs. Ambrose.
You
All
need
in
to get
favor,
in there
signify by
first.
saying aye.
Aye.
need to start
I don't,
Opposed, same
I don't know
sign.
what I'm doing.
Hearing none, motion carries. FY19 budget and capital requests.
Oh, now we get into that part.
Have you went over the budget with the commission?
Yes, I have.
And?
And we changed a few things that Diane had on here. I went over it with Diane and she agrees with what we did. What she wanted was we made the following changes. We changed the superintendent's mileage and mileage reimbursement transfer to vets into a single line item, which is plain mileage. Instead of them 2 line items, we eliminated those 2 line
Okay.
items. And we changed it to just mileage. The other thing we did was we dropped the rental assistance for veterans from 16,000 to 13,000, because in the last couple of years, we haven't used that much.
Okay.
And if the trend keeps on like it is, we can probably drop it some more in the future.
And then that would just about answer the question of why you went from 150 total to 147, right there.
Yeah, yes. I guess Diane raised the employees' wages up a little bit in anticipation of a raise, possible raise at the end of the month here. And we accepted that, and so we're, altogether, we are taking away from the budget's $3,273.
How much?
2,000,
Kind of more than that, isn't it?
You mean, what you, from last?
$3,273.
Oh, there, at the bottom, the right, lower
Now, that's
right.
from,
3273.
this year on the wrong ticket here, this is the one from,
These are
no,
expensive.
you and,
You're giving me the wrong paperwork there, young fellow. What do you
Yeah,
got?
you
What do you
got-
got there?
you should have one
Well,
too.
that, you have to
Well, so
sign
you-
both
you've been
sides,
hiding stuff.
or both
Yeah.
pages, and then back to,
Copy the bills.
back to.
Had them all
recycle,
straight, then you
please.
come in here and started messing with
Alright, where are we at? This is the important one. We keep this one.
me. You gotta have it somewhere,
Budget.
you gotta have it
Maybe Mr.
somewhere.
Kistner kicked it on me. I don't know. There it is. Is that
There
it?
it is. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
We're signing something.
Okay, we went from,
One in Washington.
from,
It's on the same day.
148,650
Yeah?
to 143. That does sound like a lot more, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's
It's
5,000.
5,227.
How did I figure that? How did I figure that?
That's why I question. I know your spelling is terrible and your math is even worse.
Oh, yeah.
Worse.
I can't depend on my secretaries. So anyway, that's, we've reduced it, let me try that again, huh?
So,
I
what
must
was the
have-
amount you reduced it?
5,227.
Yeah. And right now, we're 7 months into the
Right.
year, and
And you have 60.
what'd you do with that one? We're only 40-some% of the budget. Where'd you have one?
I don't know. I don't know what you did with all this. These.
There it is. We are only 45% into the budget for this year with 7 months out of the way.
Okay.
So we're gonna begin the budget again.
Yeah, that's an extra.
Yeah, that's the one he's looking for. That's the one you were looking for. Okay. I went over this with the commission after I talked to Diane about it, and they approved it as written into this budget. I think you had a copy. Diane was happy with it, and I guess I am too. This goes with the bills. The bills are right there.
That's the wrong one.
Yeah, that's the
Who
wrong
give me
one.
that one? You guys
I
signed the
don't
wrong
know,
one.
these are, that's your copy.
That's not mine. That was just handed to me.
Jeez.
You guys are terrible. Terrible. All right,
It's only
so
my
we're,
second meeting, but I don't remember the other one going quite this way.
so we're
Because he
talking
wasn't here.
4.5% decrease. No, maybe 3.5%.
Yeah, you can sign that one. You need to use my glasses?
I should. I can scribble my name and make it work.
Did you see that email he put on? I don't want him getting mad at me too much. Don did all right, but Chad didn't do too good, did he?
Took a bunch of pictures. That's why I got off the property committee.
Oh, is that why they kicked you out of
And
it?
that's why I got off of it, for certain.
Oh, where's that one I was looking for?
You gonna blame that on me too?
Yeah, did you put that in there?
I don't know. Probably.
The
All
mileage
right.
sheet, what'd you do with the mileage?
And I'm gonna say,
Okay.
Linda has it.
Do I give it to anybody else?
We all should sign it. Here,
Oh, you should.
Yeah, these are two to sign.
Bob,
Now,
here's
what
my,
about-
oh, you got your pen.
I'm gonna assume that we're not gonna have any capital requests next year.
Oh, this,
No,
You got
I was looking at trying to think of black and white printer to kind of take the load off that color printer. And they had an XS1, and the IT gave it to me, and I'm
Who's they?
county somewhere.
Okay.
Come from the county somewhere.
Our county or one of the
Yeah.
other 101
Our
counties?
county.
Okay, okay.
And IT set it up for me, and it's working just fine. So that's gonna take a lot of the heat off that color printer.
Okay,
Takes a lot to keep it operating.
all right.
The
Do you guys wanna take action on the budget and capital request, or you wanna wait till everybody's here? Till John gets a chance to look at it, or both Johns?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
regardless if you decide to wait for them, we would like you to schedule a special meeting. We want all the items back from the committees in July.
In July.
We're not, finance needs the approval back so they can start working
No,
on
I'll
it.
do it quick.
Okay.
There's no-
So we don't have to wait for them then. We've got a quorum, we can act
That's
if we
right.
want to. What's your thoughts there, Mrs. Ambrose?
I don't really have a lot on that.
It's about like it was last year, is what it looks like. I think.
The ones we just, that we just looked at,
Yes.
yes, that, if we okayed it tonight,
What
that
did
would
we
be
drop it
fine with
last
me.
year? Did we drop 3% last year?
Yeah, about roughly.
Close to, I
And
think.
what is this? Is this another 3% drop?
I don't know what the levy will be, nobody told me, but it'll gonna drop some. I'm sure.
3.5 or better, I think.
Yeah, the commission's looked at this, it's fine with them.
They voted on it to approve it as.
It's 3.5.
3.5?
Sure.
I'll make a
Thank you.
motion, we accept this proposed budget for the Veterans Assistance Committee for next year.
And forward to the,
And forward to the Finance Committee.
I second it.
did you get that,
You still?
young fella? Any discussion?
No, just
I
don't-
might make a note that the commission did approve it
Right.
prior to our, going along with our approval.
That,
And then it's a 3.5% decrease from last year.
as long as the economy keeps going, I think, might put me out of business with that, not too bad, would it?
I won't complain.
Me either. But
Okay, a
it
motion and a
seems like-
second. All in favor signify, well, say by, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Okay.
Unanimous.
Unanimous?
Unanimous. All right, that comes down to C, internal audit.
What?
What?
I didn't see that in there.
It's right in the agenda.
Is it?
You just take the minutes, Mac. Keep still.
Okay.
This is something that we had talked to the state's attorneys about, Diane, when we run into some good years, like this year we have a overabundance of cash in our coffers. According to both state's attorneys, the previous one and Randy, we can do an internal audit that the county can charge, and I don't care what it is, if you just print off a couple of bills and you say we're doing fine, and you can charge, and so we don't have so much overhead, it goes back into the county coffers. That's why this is on the agenda. So, we had talked about it for the past couple
Way
of
to
years.
take some of your money.
But right now, we've got $128,000 after 7 months out of $148,000 levy. So in theory, we've used $20,000 in 7 months. We don't need that much cash on hand. So this is a way that we can do, the county, we can put it back into the general account or whatever account we wanna do. And our bookkeeping department can do that for us.
And how much of that cost?
Well, that's up to them.
And looking at this, I would say 30,000.
Well, right off the top of my head, I was thinking the cost of the van. What did it cost us for a new van?
No, 30.
With 24.
Well, if it'd be 30, I don't care if it's 35. It's $35 that the county can charge to do an internal audit. We don't have to do it out, that all money stays in our coffers. It just
And
moves from
then-
one account, goes back into the general fund. And however that you wanna do it, we can do it.
But
Well, then
According to
how do I-
Randy Hednock, the statute's wide open, and we don't have to keep, one year, we had, Tom had $173,000 in a CD plus it's levy.
Good man.
And I'm
And-
just afraid if I need to get a van, then I would have the money to buy that.
Well, and that's why we're doing it this way. Right now, we're 60,000 over where we really need to be. So if the county charges an internal audit, it takes half of that. We can do 5 internal audits a year if we need to. But we don't have to do any. That's the way that we can help manage the
Because we're
cash
only supposed
situation.
to have so much excess.
December 1st, we're only supposed to have 6 months worth of reserve, so your levy plus 50%. Right now, we're gonna blow that number out of the water.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am?
if you notice that we did lower the levy for your 2018 levy,
Mm-hmm.
and so we could do that again for 2019.
We did, we just did, I think by $5,200.
No, that's your expenses, that's not your levy.
Oh,
So,
didn't?
Yeah, this way.
so for,
No, that was our budget, wasn't it?
yep, that's your
Yeah.
budget, those are your expenses. So your levy amount is still down and we can lower it more. But I know that Mr. Bailey was nervous about what he
Right.
had in carryover, and so I thought he wanted to remain right about, I mean, we can lower it more for this year. I wouldn't lower it too much more, but he is at the 140 mark now, and we did lower it to 80,000 for this fiscal year.
And I think that's what we decided to do, this internal deal, rather than mess with the audit, or the levy, I think is what we had talked about, wasn't it, Tom?
Well, when I talked to Randy, that's what he thought we should do too, because I guess we're not really understanding what the internal audit situation is. It's up to the county, really the county board, to determine how much of a levy that the veterans need in order to support the program. If you don't think they need the amount that's up here, you just have to tell us what amount you think that they need, and that's what we'll submit. But we kept it at 1 year just because of some of
I
the
was
issues that
borrowing
you had
money for a while.
before. Yeah, so we didn't wanna get it down too low.
Right, and it-
But we can lower it again
The-
for this
The
year.
problem that we're having is, we never know what we're gonna need till it's already set. Like,
Here-
we had the couple of years there where we were getting slaughtered.
Here's the thing, no matter what the levy amount is, and yes, there's a maximum that's set, but the statute says that the county will pay for expenses for the veterans. So anytime that there's these expenses that you have for the veterans and they need to be paid, regardless if there's money in this fund, the county's gonna pay those,
Yeah.
no matter what, because statutorily you're
Up to
obligated to do
up
so.
to a point there, I mean, there is a cap.
No, not, I mean, there's a cap on the levy, but
Right.
the statute says that you will provide this assistance for veterans. So if you have an influx of veterans who need assistance,
Right.
regardless if you have money here, you're gonna provide the assistance.
But they ran into this in Grundy County, where they actually have 2 VACs, because they're fighting over the money.
Yeah,
And
that's,
there's a cap in place because basically they're
there's
licensed to steal.
there's definitely a cap on the levy amount and
Right.
what you can take.
Right.
But if you look at the statute that, that indicates that you'll provide this service for the veterans, it doesn't talk about available funds or anything like that. It talks about the services that are to be provided to veterans, and it says that ultimately that the county is responsible
Right.
for providing them. And so, when we reduce this levy, we basically increase the general fund in order, because the general fund is always short. So we keep the rate the same across the board. So when we pull from, if one account has more than enough funds, we reduce that fund and we increase the general fund, and we continue to do that with all the different funds and balance
And that's
amounts.
exactly what we talked about doing with the internal audit. We set the levy, and then we can manage it, this way. And then we don't have to keep worried about where we're gonna be, because right now, I can't change the levy for what we have on hand. Say, right
Yeah.
now, I've got,
One lady,
just say, at this pace, December 1st, we're gonna have $300,000 or $250,000 in.
No, you'll have $150,000 as of December 1st, if you spend what's anticipated here,
Right.
150.
or 50,270
And then you won't get this levy amount until later,
next summer.
like July, I think is your
Right,
first
so we have to
distribution,
coast
July,
this.
August.
That's where we was at before we had to
Yeah.
coast till we got new money.
It looks like we did.
Well, before, when we had an issue, we had to have the deal in January every year, we had to borrow 60 grand.
Right.
Working cash,
Working cash.
because there was an error on the finance department side,
Right.
and so the
They
levy
took-
didn't get bumped up
Right,
They took
one
it
of the
all.
years that
Right,
it should
they
have.
wiped it all out.
They did, they didn't,
right.
they weren't watching, but because Tom is so diligent, we're watching. We're definitely watching, and we didn't wanna pull you down too far, that's why we left it at the 140, but we definitely can,
If they just drop the levy, it's the same thing as.
it's basically the same.
Except, your levy is set. And if you hit 3 or 4 bad months, you're gonna be going through the same thing.
Or if he thinks they need a van,
Again, if one
Yeah.
goes up,
then he can afford to get it rather than having to come ask
That's
for it.
exactly right.
Oh, I
Right
can't
now,
do
we're
that anymore.
carrying, right now, we've got it figured where we're carrying about a 60,000 reserve. And when we get over that, that was the whole idea, of the internal, bring it back down to the 60, like right now, we've got plenty. That was the whole idea.
do we have to do that before a certain date?
We have.
The levy-
We were trying to figure out
The levy you have to, the audit you can do it anytime.
That's, I
Yeah.
think,
No, audit you can do it anytime.
So if I gets a big amount.
So you're saying, say, leave the levy alone
Leave it
and
alone.
do an audit to take away the money?
Right. When needed.
And she's saying, lower the levy so they can use that money somewhere else.
No,
But
I
then
wouldn't.
but you're set, it's set then. This way, if you do the audit part of it, we can control when and if we need it. And you can do it 3 times a year.
So if we leave
If you need
leave
to.
the levy alone, and if we need to do those internal
Right.
audits, this can be
Right.
recommended as we go through the year.
We
I
get-
just wonder
We
if,
get through the tough times, the January, the February, the March, when the heating bills and everything's crazy.
Well, December and February, November is bad too.
Yeah, and then we get through that, and there's like, we can see, and we've seen for a while that we've got a lot of cash on hand. We say, hey, you know, Diane, just do your thing, charge, here, we think we can afford 22,000, charge us 22,000, and then we'll keep it in line, and
wouldn't
It's
it be
just
better,
contrary.
wouldn't it be better if, I don't know what your auditors are gonna think
Yeah, I know, I was
about
not, I didn't even wanna go there.
taking that money and putting it in our general fund
Yeah.
without getting that approved by our auditing firm, because they really go through that, you know, and that could throw up a red flag to them, because I don't think it's even, I don't think it's very, very ethical for Diane to be working on county time and then charging a lot more for an audit than what's really called
And plus,
for.
they do
They
all
already
my
do
budget, because, so that's like putting a wolf in the chicken house.
But that,
well,
But
Bob,
in essence,
Bob,
you know what I
look
mean.
at our bills. Barb's here charges
we
for doing
have,
payroll.
an intergovernmental agreement that lays out all those expenses and what you're charging them for. If you're gonna charge them for something else in addition, it probably should be part of the intergovernmental agreement.
Then we gotta get into that kind of one.
Well,
What do you,
neither one of the state's attorneys said there was an issue with doing it this way. Seth, he read the statute, said it was fine. I asked Randy, he reviewed it, he said, no, that's fine too.
Well, I'm not questioning, Joe, the legality of what you're saying.
Right.
What I'm questioning is, what are our auditors? I mean, that, to me, they're gonna red flag that.
Why would they red flag about it?
Because of that money coming out of this account and going into our general
For something that
account
you
with
kind of
somebody
just
that's
made
already
up.
working
yeah, why did we,
here.
why did
I mean, if you can do it, and that's what you guys
Well,
wanna
Bob,
do.
if we asked Mac to do an audit, they charge.
Well, absolutely, but they're an outside auditor,
Yeah.
Diane.
So this
county
internal
employee.
audit would have to be Diane's, her people doing it, is that what it is?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But I
That's more work.
you audit
for
your
me.
stuff all the time when you send it over here. What, I don't know what you mean by an audit, I guess. And I mean, I
Well,
just feel like you.
That's what I'm saying,
it was
you
a-
do the audit yourself, really.
It was a way for the county to charge and to move money from one account to another.
Why don't we just transfer it?
You could just do that.
You can't do that. Once it's in my account, it's my money.
That's, his own.
I gotta spend it.
So-
I mean, if we have legitimate expenses, then that's okay. We just change the intergovernmental agreement. But if we don't have expenses that are offsetting that, I don't know about this. And I'm messaging Randy now too to see what, because I don't think that either Dan or myself.
Quit throwing things about,
Yeah, the only thing.
put aside, throwing stuff.
If
Huh?
we're worried about having too much money, then can't we just have a lower budget this year?
We did lower the budget, but you mean lower the levy?
Lower the levy.
Yeah,
Oh,
or some,
where's our guy?
if you want.
And yet,
He is on
I
break.
depend on them
We got him
to
in the meeting.
do to my welfare.
I'm sure the meeting.
And we're showing you what we're doing.
Yeah,
We showed you what we
exactly.
did, we're showing you what we're planning to do, and, you know, leaving the little bit, even though it is a full year's worth of operating cash, this kind of assumes that next year, you're gonna purchase a van, so. And then we would not take that from
Hopefully not.
capital.
Why not? If I got newer equipment, I don't have so much maintenance on it. I got one with over 100,000 miles.
That can eat up some.
It's all right. We had more than 400,000 miles on it before we turned it in.
Yeah, and we was doing a lot of repair work
Well,
on it
that's
too.
fine, you just don't need to have new just because you can have new, that's,
Could we table this till the other people?
well, yeah, we don't have to take any
But
action
then we
at
have to have a
all.
special meeting because she wants it by,
You wanna buy
No,
some?
that isn't, no, that's what, we already acted on that, that was the,
oh, all right.
that was
all right.
the,
Budget.
budget and the
Okay.
capital request.
We can table this till we get more.
Yeah, we have to do anything,
Well, we don't have to do anything.
yeah.
And you got another meeting starting in about half a minute.
Okay, I move then that we table this.
I'll second that.
Second one.
There's nothing to table, there was no motion.
Well, if there was a something on the table, we're asking to table. it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, we'll move on to business to come before the committee. You're up, Mr. David.
I don't have anything, budget's what I was working with, but they have.
That's it?
Vans
All you
are
have is, the-
Vans are running good, Chevy's up and running. Probably gonna have to put a battery in it, because it runs, if I don't run it every day, I have to jump. So I got a week of that, maybe battery got it running.
okay, it's just a battery.
I'm pretty sure it is, because once, if I start it every day,
Okay,
but if I let it sit for 2 or 3 days,
okay.
I am assuming it's gonna have to put battery in it. And then, damn wheels still showing, it's still weak too.
Lifter, did you get it plugged?
I got it fixed, but it's still, anyway, that's where I'm at.
All right. Review and approval of the bills. Everybody said, look at them, we've signed them.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Ambrose,
Second by me.
second by Mr. Kestner. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The bills have been paid. All right, public comment. Other people in there, anything want to say? Go ahead, Mr. Mays. You're recognized. All right, hearing no public comment, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn by Mr. Kestner. Seconded by Mrs. Ambrose. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. 5:01, 2.
You did good. You did good.
I get 5 o'clock on my, all right, I will too.